Point game in Indiana. We'll get back to that in just a moment. I know we started this show talking about the health of Wemby for a lot of reasons, not just the postseason, but we saw him have to leave the game, and I know we had this MVP conversation. Chris, you got some news for me?
Yeah, so sources told me that Victor Wembanyama underwent a clean MRI, so he thankfully avoided anything serious. And so moving forward, sources told me he's going to be day-to-day. So we will see Wemby come back at some point before the regular season concludes. So that's great news. No serious injury. He will be back, clean MRI.
Yeah. Number one, I know fans are thinking about his health, making sure that he's right. Number two, obviously the postseason. But number three, and I think this is important to Wemby because he's been on record talking about how he wants to win the MVP. 3 games remaining, Rudy. Got to play in one of them. And this is good news, according to Chris. Looks like we'll get at least one more game from Wemby in the regular season.
I mean, look, this is a fight. That whole race for MVP has been a fight this year. It's been great to see, and you'll love to see everybody out there.
Yeah, no, especially when you know how important he is. Chris, just take me through like how you think the organization handles this. Obviously, the MRI comes back clean, as you just reported, but if he's got 3 games remaining, what are you trying to figure out who that source is?
I just tweeted what I said. That's all.
Okay.
That's all, Rudy.
You have no sources, man.
How do you think the organization handles this? Is it just the one game to get him to that threshold for MVP conversation or consideration?
You know what? I think it's what Wemby wants. Honestly, I think if he feels like when you get to this point, he's put out goals for the team. And I'm not saying it was just him, but he's put out certain goals for the team. They've reached those goals. And I think at this point, you know, once he gets that one game needed to qualify, I think he understands the bigger picture. But ultimately, I think if he feels like he needs to play another game or so, I think the organization will allow him to make that decision. But it's safe to say he'll get a game in.
One thing, I don't think anybody knew how much of a competitor this kid was. You know, what he's willing to play through, what he's willing to do. You know, how much he's willing to give for his team. Like, this guy came off the bench for a good portion this year. Like, he's willing to put, you know, himself or whatever he's thinking to the side to get for the best, you know, for the betterment of the team. But other than that, I think this is one of those things that he really, really, really wants. So, you know, I do envision seeing him out there, and I envision him being fine. Like, this is the time of the year. Everybody's kind of dealing with something. You know what? The funny thing about it, I watched the video. I didn't really see the injury. You know, obviously we understand that there's something going on, but you know, I'm just glad to see he made it out with no real injuries.
You know, if it comes down to Chris, what you said, which is what he wants, he's playing.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, like, there's no hesitation there.
But I think you still got to be smart. If you have lingering soreness in the rib area, I think it's wise to be smart and go into the playoffs as you know, as well as possible. So he's proven he's a competitor.
Yeah.
There's nothing left to prove at this point. Get that one game you need to qualify, and if you still can use some rest moving forward, go ahead. Because we're locked in number 2. They can't move up. They can't go down. There's not any reason to risk anything moving forward.
And I don't think, like, this is one of those things where, like, an individual award that people would be like, oh, whatever. I think everybody on that team wants him to win it. Yeah. So, like, they're pushing for him. And as long as he's out there, he gives himself a chance, was giving himself a really good chance to hoist that trophy.
Jazz Pelicans, by the way, just getting underway. Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment. Joel Myers, Antonio Daniels. Love when AD gets fired up on some of those big moments. Let's take a listen to see how the start 5 plays. It's usually stars that are delivering. I said it for Joker and Wemby. I feel like that's appropriate.
You're right.
Oh,
You're right.
Usually that is the case.
Jaylen Brown, too. You said it for him, too.
You're right. I didn't say it 3 times. All right, all these dudes in the conversation. I made reference to it. Spurs sitting at 60 wins on the year. Here's the good news. Can't finish lower than a 2 seed. But that number 60 for Wemby, actually carries significant weight for Wemby. This is what he had to say about that number.
First 50-win season since 16-17 franchise. What does it mean to you guys to
It means growth. But still not enough, you know. I want to get to at least 60 to balance out my rookie season.
All right, so he was able to go and do that. It feels like mission accomplished, not just because of the record, but, Chris, the way we view this Spurs team.
Yeah, listen, it's rare when you have a majority of your collection of your core guys on rookie contracts. Yeah. Typically, young guys are playing for that that max contract, that big contract coming up, which takes about 4 to 5 years. And so it's rare when you get guys, young guys, that are team-oriented, that are concentrate on the overall goal of trying to win as many basketball games as possible. And you have to applaud Wemby first and foremost because his voice, people listen. Not just his team, but we saw what happened in the All-Star game, All-Star weekend. People listen. And then they have a collection of veterans as well. Bismack Biyombo, Keldon Johnson, Rudy Gay's cousin, Harrison Barnes in that locker room.
Some may say.
Yeah, that round out that locker room, man. And it blossomed to what we're seeing right now. So it's rare. And so I think we need to, take time to look at it and give them their roses right now.
Yeah, I think you have to give props to the front office too.
Totally.
They're picking the right players. They got a collection of great players that all want to play together. They play the right way. And Wemby's just the leader of that team. He comes out and performs every night at a high level, and those guys follow. So, you have to, obviously you got to give a lot of respect to Wemby and those guys out there, but the front office put a hell of a team together.
No, they did. I mean, the collection of talent, Rudy, as you made reference to, it's a deep roster. It's a team that can carry the load and beat you in different ways. I think what's fascinating here about Wemby specifically, the growth and maturation that we've seen in his career. Now, yesterday, gets banged up, had to leave the game with a rib injury, collision with Paul George, as you see Harper there. But the point is,
that kid's really good, buddy.
He's another one that you could throw into the mix.
Really good.
Castle played really well last night.
He's not the MVP, but he's really good, though.
I didn't say that.
Just making sure.
I wouldn't go that far. They got one of those candidates that's there. But look, circling back on Wemby here, suffered the rib injury last night against Philly, played 15 minutes and 40 seconds, which will count toward eligibility for postseason awards. Now, players are actually, and so there's been some confusion about this, but players are actually granted 2 exceptions to the requirement of playing 20 minutes in a game as long as they play at least 15. That's exactly what happened. After he went down off of this collision, went back into the locker room, came out, played a little bit more in the second half. We didn't see him in the second half. Still went for 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 blocks.
In 16 minutes.
Isn't it crazy? I mean, at one point he had the 3 blocks with 9 minutes, I think, is when he actually checked out of the ball game, if memory serves me correct. You said this, like, this dude wants it in terms of the MVP. 3 games left, has to play at least 20 minutes in one of them. If you look at his stats and you go to, like, whatever, ESPN.com or Basketball Reference, it'll say 63. That's there. The game that you saw in person, Cup Final, will actually count towards eligibility of postseason awards. The stats don't affect his season stats. So that's where we net out at needing to play Rudy one more game. And it feels like because of his desire to win this thing, he's going to be out there for at least 20 minutes in one of these games, right?
Yeah, we hope so. I mean, look, it's been a while since we've seen somebody that wants it this bad. Not to take anything away from the last guys that have won it, but this guy has talked about it. He's walked the walk. He's got his team in title contention. Like, this is what you want from your MVP.
By the way, an MVP, he is in consideration.
Candidate.
Okay. Candidate, just throwing that out there. You have a vote here. I'm not asking you because I don't think you even know at this point. We were talking about this off air.
I gave you a vote.
They did give him a vote.
For like the 12th straight year. But who's counting?
You are. Is there his desire, if he gets out there, right, and like does that mean anything to you as a voter? Because you made it a point a couple weeks ago saying, hey, like, I actually kind of want dudes to campaign a little bit.
Yeah, well, does it mean anything as a voter that he's going to get out there and try to get the 65 games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it matters because they're trying to play. They want to play. And I think, there are a lot of pros and cons when it comes to this 65-game implementation. It was created and installed because guys were load management. Teams were sitting healthy guys out. Now we're seeing the byproduct of that, which is a negative result, and where it's hurting players like Cade Cunningham, potentially Luka Doncic, and others. And so we got to figure out what to do from here. But I do like the fact that it is not just Wemby's case, but it's making guys, it's putting a little extra incentive to get guys out there to want to compete. Again, Rudy Gay, he's not 100%.
No, playing hurt.
But he's here. He understands that people are tuning in to see him. Yeah, he has one of the best hairlines in the league. They want to see it.
He's trying to get the MVP, man. That's our.
You see how he came? You see how Caesar came?
When you were talking.
Yeah.
No. This is a theme.
We are what? 10 minutes in?
10 minutes.